For generations, the LGBTQ community has struggled for respect and acceptance in the workplace, in society, with their families and friends. But with the millennial generation, they are refusing to hide in the closet, and they're making progress in their fight to simply live their lives like everyone else. This is what I wish you knew about being LGBTQ in the millennial age. Hello, I am Brittany Timmons, and here to tell you what they wish you knew are
Yasmin,
Zeppelin Tillman,
Mahogany.
A 2017 study by the advocacy group GLAAD found that millennials are more likely to identify as LGBTQ and to be more accepting of LGBTQ people. The survey found that 20% of millennials between the ages of 18 to 34 identify as LGBTQ, compared with 12% of Generation Xers who are between ages 35 and 51. Among baby boomers, those between 52 and 71, 7% identify as LGBTQ, and just 5% of elders, those 72 and older, fall into that group. But the same study also found that progress in accepting LGBTQ people has slowed. So let's get into it. Do those statistics surprise you?
not at all.
No. Why not?
Not at all. I don't know. It's just we're in a different era. It's a different time. Mm-hmm. And millennials, we're very forward thinking. Mm-hmm. I just think that part of that is due to the access that we have to the internet and everything. The world is at our fingertips. So we started having a better understanding about, different topics and LGBTQ before anyone else. So
I was a bit surprised though it wasn't as accepting, because it is, you see it a lot more like in media and TV, and it's kind of like a lot of part of pop culture and a lot of different things that we watch. So I'm surprised that it's not as accepting, because we do see it a lot more.
Mahogany, you said it didn't surprise you. Why?
No, it didn't, because now, like you said, we see it all on our social medias. We see it on all these different platforms that kind of make a point that it's here. We're seeing it, we're being more aware, we're being more educated about it, and it's the norm now. It's become a norm, and are we accepting of it? Are we becoming an ally of it? Or are we a part of the community? And we just have to be more present that we have a community out here that is part of the LGBTQ, and we just have to decide, how do we distinguish and have those conversations about it, and that it's relevant.
Okay, so with that being said, do you guys think it's a thin line of where it's being brought to you in an educational manner or compared to if it's being forced? Example, let's say the gender neutral bathrooms that's going around in different businesses and workplaces and things of that sort. What do you guys think of that? Is it a lot? Is it what we need exactly right now? How do you feel?
I think my issue with it is with the children. I think that's when it gets sensitive, when it's in schools, like middle schools or elementary schools, because a lot of parents might naturally be comfortable with their children being able to be in a gender-neutral bathroom where the girls and the guys can go into. And that's a conversation that the school has to have with the parents, because you're going to have different pros and cons of what they feel about it. You do also see those gender-neutral bathrooms in a lot of employment and also college universities. And I think it just really depends. I think when we're older, we see it more and we're a little more accepting of it. But when it comes to the children, we're kind of like, are we pushing it on to them? Or is this something that parents are even ready to have a conversation about it with their young children? You're talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. But the reality of the situation is you do have some children who don't identify with a specific gender. And they're trying to accommodate their needs as well. So it's like a double whammy.
If I can piggyback with you saying, talking about the children, I love the children. I work with kids. So for me, I think that's where it's kind of hard to take in. I also love the LGBTQ community. Some of my closest friends are a part of that community, so I understand their fight. I understand their want of acceptance. However, my concern is that I think it forces kids to grow up very fast. I know for us, when we were growing up, we didn't have these things just thrown in our face. So we didn't have to run home from school every single other day saying, Mommy, what is this? Or this person did this. I think in today's time, it's a lot of things that's just abruptly being thrown in kids' face, and it's making parents have to address these issues and these concerns so soon. I also have mad respect for parents that are allowing their children to grow up freely and experience and play around with this toy and that toy. But I also think it puts those parents that's not ready or just want their child to be a little kid have to have these conversations with their child that's over their head, you would think. But in today's time, a lot of them know what's going on. And a lot of them know that, okay, my kid is going to experience this because this person in their class does something different every day or comes into the classroom with something different every day.
Yeah, I mean, I even think on like, once again, like in the media portion, like I don't know if you all heard about like Disney Channel has like the new, the show coming. It's like the first, he's coming out of the closet. And so like, I think that to your point, these conversations that we may not necessarily have been exposed to early on because we didn't have to think about it. Now it's like, you know, whether you say forcing it or just kind of like moving with the times, the reality is that like it's just kind of happening in all of the different spaces in which you exist. So I think to kind of push back against it isn't really beneficial because it's coming and you're gonna have to discuss it regardless, you know, with your kids in that sort of piece. So.
Yep, this was good.
Yeah.
So we've got to take a break, but stay with us. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. With an office dedicated to advocacy on behalf of the LGBTQ community, Mayor Bowser's administration is committed to support the LGBTQ people. Here's an example.
1, 2, 3, smile!
The opening of a transitional housing program for the LGBTQ youth sponsored by the DC Department of Human Services and SMILE, which stands for Supporting and Mentoring Youth Advocates and Leaders. The program is an effort to combat LGBTQ youth homelessness. A 2015 DHS survey found that of more than 300 homeless young people, nearly half, 43%, self-identified as LGBTQ. And joining us now is Portia Burton, Health Impact Specialist with SMILE. Please tell us more about the work you do with SMILE.
Well, at SMILES, a lot of what we do is advocacy work. We teach our youth to stick up for themselves and to be their own voice in the event that they have to. A lot of the other work that we do, we have a youth house. As you can see, we deal with case management, mental health. We do after-school programming, tabling at events. We just had a fall brunch, very successful. So yeah, like we're heavily in the community. We want to do more. So yeah.
So Portia, why is it that a lot of these youth people that's in the community find themselves in this homeless and rejected situations?
I would personally say it's due to parental ignorance. I think that we have to remember that straight people make gay children sometimes, and it's okay.
That was good.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I think we have to be mindful that everyone's human. And everyone's a part of this world and here to stay. Me being a trans woman of color, you know, it's important to me to speak up for those that cannot speak for themselves. And that's another thing that SMILE does. We do competency trainings at schools. We are all HIV testers, so we're certified to give tests to children and youth and things of that nature. So I'm just excited, you know, to be in this field and to be the voice for my community. I just did a campaign with DOH for PrEP. So like we're pushing that as well. So like, yeah, I'm very excited.
That's good. That's one thing I didn't know about you, that you are a transgendered woman of color.
Yes.
With that, do you see you all struggle getting better? Media's changing, the opportunities for you all are changing. Is it a fight that you see you all winning as the time goes on, or is it still a lot of work that needs to be done? Or are you at the peak of?
I would like to say we've cranked our engine, but we haven't went anywhere. I think that we should not focus so much on the fact that someone's trans, but focus more on what their needs are. My needs are the same needs as any other woman. Some of our trans men, their needs are the same needs of our Black men of today. So just recognizing that needs come before sexual orientation, and housing is a big issue in our community. Being housed, being able to get housed, and just, you know, the violence that, you know, we face on a day-to-day basis, it's ridiculous. And in DC alone, we have an LGBT unit, which is great. So like whenever we are faced with those problems, we can always call and get people that look like us to handle our situations, which is sometimes the best thing.
I didn't know that at all either. You're spitting some facts out here today. And I think also with that, how you said it's not about your sexual orientation or how you identify yourself, but it's just about being human.
Yes.
And I think if everybody, that's what's wrong with the country altogether, but if we first recognize that about ourselves, despite skin color, despite anything else, I think it's about recognizing that we are humans. And I know, Mahogany, you were sharing something about your story of acceptance and things of that sort. Can you please share that with everybody else here?
Yes, definitely. When I was 18 years old, I made the big decision to come out to my family. It was not easy. I prayed on it. I wrote in my journal. It was very difficult because I didn't know the response I was going to get. And I'm like, is my family going to accept me? Are they going to love me? Are they going to look at me differently because I choose to love a woman? It was very difficult for me. So when I had the conversation with my mom, it really broke her. Just to keep it 100, it broke her. At that point, that's when I started feeling the rejection, because I started realizing that my mom started seeing her daughter being gay and not seeing her for the woman that she was growing to be. And mind you, I'm just coming out of high school, I'm just going into the work environment, going to school. Like at that point, I still needed my mom. And because of me just coming out to be who I am, and just it only being a part of me, not all of me, because who I choose to love doesn't define who I am. That really definitely put a burden on our relationship. It's definitely an ongoing battle, and this has been going on 10 years. So I'm happily with a partner that I love. I go to school, I work, I grind, because as millennials, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
And that's what we do. We're good at it too. And I don't allow who I love to define me. And I don't feel like I have to walk around with, you know, rainbows and everything saying, oh, hey, I'm gay, but I'm a big advocate of what I stand for and what I believe. And I appreciate that. I learned that your blood doesn't make your family. And in those moments of times when I felt that rejection, my friends and their families were my family. I could go to them. If I felt like I wasn't welcome home, I had another place to go. And I'm so thankful for that. And that really taught me something, just to, you know what, just because it gets difficult, you don't stop fighting for you and what's best for you. And I'm still in the fight. We go through battles every day, but hey, I'm here. I love who I am. I love every part of it. And I stand for my community.
Mahogany, I love your story. I do.
It's just real.
It's just real. Stay with us. I Wish You Knew will be back in a moment. Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. Portia, can you please tell us what is it like dating? What has some of your experience been like, the ups, the downs, the challenges?
Oh, yes, I'm going to spill it. Dating.
What is transgender first? Just so,
Okay.
like, to make sure I'm facing
so glad that you asked.
the same way.
A transgender woman is someone who may or may not, well, I'll say this. In 1988, what I was classified was a male.
Okay.
Today, I am classified a female.
Okay.
I went through a small process of hormoning and some surgeries. Nonetheless, every woman gets surgeries and women have hormones. So we are all...
Portia. Yes, fabulous. Confidence is so beautiful. Okay, go. I'm
Thank
ready.
you.
I'm listening.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Also, dating, it depends. It depends on where you're from, you know, what areas you're from, depict from what men you may get. Sometimes, a lot of the times, we're looked at as objects. You know what I'm saying? People look at us as like, and I'm pretty sure they look at women that same way, but at least that guy may marry her. You know, he may actually bring her home. You know, instead, like a lot of trans women have to live their relationships in the house, which is not okay. Today, we're getting better at it. Of course, I've been in very successful relationships. So and I have had my duds. So, but yes, oh God.
See, this is off the camera talk that we need to have with real cups of tea and everything.
Little glass or something.
Yes. But nonetheless, if I have tips for dating, I would say date safe. Be mindful. Get to know the person before you invite them into your homes. Realize that in today's society, in 2018, why are we hiding? If someone's hiding, then they have something to hide. And it can be their personality, it could be their violence, it could be anything. I don't have time to find out.
And that's true in all relationships, no matter what your sexuality is, but I think that's valuable information. I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, well, definitely. You know, shopping safely, you know, you don't necessarily want to, you know, be too forward, you know, suggestively with the clothing that you wear. You know, you want to, you know, make sure that you're going out on dates respectfully and respecting yourself. Alcohol intake, make sure that you know what you're doing. You get your own drinks if you're an alcohol drinker.
Mine out of Long Island.
But you know, but just be mindful. Keep your eyes open. Get to know the person. Me personally, I want to know where you're from, what school you went to, your mom's name, your dad's name, your sister's name, things that make you upset, things that make you happy. I want to know you before I could date you.
Has anybody ever experienced or know someone that has had challenges with just being a part of the LGBTQ community? I know for me, I have some friends whose stories all varies. Some stories, them coming out or them just introducing themselves of who they want to be has been successful. You know, it hasn't been no problem within the house or amongst family members or friends. And I have some that has been kicked out and have become homeless. And I have some others who's really suffered off the terms of wanting to almost take their lives because it didn't go so well. So do any of you know somebody like that?
Not to that extent, but I still think because we do live in a heteronormative society, it still has been difficult for a lot of my friends who are, in the sense of that they've kept something that's so impactful to their lives from their parents or like from their loved ones. And so, you know, unlike you, who's extremely brave, they just have not said anything at all. And it's, you know, they've talked to me like in private about kind of like living with that sort of, it's like internal struggles that you deal with because you can't be your full self around the people who you know, you spent the majority of your life around. So I've seen that.
That's the worst feeling that you can feel, is being around people that's supposed to know you best and love you unconditionally, and you cannot be your true self. That's like the most nerve-wracking feeling. And it's shocking because you can go out on the street and see someone and they just love you and embrace you for just your aura or the energy you give or the vibes you give, and you can't go home for Thanksgiving and get that. It's real. And some people are fortunate enough to go home and, you know, their sexuality doesn't get picked at, or you come home and be like, oh, where's your boyfriend at, when you know I got a girlfriend. It's like those little things, and it comes into a conversation, and you get to a point, is this a conversation do I continue to have and keep pushing, or do I just kind of let it go and let be and let God? And at some point you got to ask yourself that, do I make an executive decision for myself to love you but love you afar, or keep pushing for you to accept me? Because there's no other acceptance better than the people in your household. It's all about having that want of acceptance. It's not about the people on the street. People are going to judge you till the day you die.
Regardless, okay?
But your mom and your daddy, your siblings, grandma, auntie, those type of relationships mean something to you. And then also, too, even with, when we talk about relationships, your partner's family. Like, I'm very family oriented. The things I want in life and things I stand by, I'm really big family oriented. So someone as my partner, I want that in them. But another thing too, I can't be so open and you're not open about your sexuality. You have to be comfortable within yourself. And that's a big important, especially you want to share a life and be open to the world, who you are, who you choose to love. You have to own it and be proud of it.
Did you all ever have a struggle with religion at all?
Definitely.
Oh,
What was that like?
Well, I'm Catholic,
Okay.
and my ex-boyfriend is Muslim.
Okay.
So the dynamics of our religion is very different.
Right.
The way I was raised was God love us all.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And not one sin is greater than the other. And my grandmother always taught me, because that's who I was raised by, you know, never try to be something I'm not. So what that means is I'm not masculine. So I'm not going to be masculine because that doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? You can clearly see that that's not just not going to work.
Right.
So just being myself and understanding myself and accepting myself. Once you accept yourself, it doesn't matter who doesn't. I accept me. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I push on the trans community. Accept yourself, or come to areas where we can accept you, because I accept them all.
Portia.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have to stop this segment and this talk right now. As always, it has been a great discussion. And Portia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
To
you.
learn more about advocacy and support of the LGBTQ community, you can contact the Mayor's Office on LGBTQ affairs at lgbtq.dc.gov or smile@smile.org. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time on I Wish You Knew.